Welcome in, everyone. Another episode of Business Relationship Sports. We're your hosts, CA KJ, Chris Piazza, and Chris Johnson. Good to see you,
Good
my
to see you,
man.
man.
It is
Always.
officially the new year. It's January 2025. We're into a new year. There's a lot going on in the world of business, relationships, and sports. We're here to deliver you the news, what's happening lately, and our perspective on it. So, jumping right in, intro to 2025. What's new in 2025? There's going to be a new president. We're going to be switching over the guard of the presidential situation. The NFL is heading into the playoffs now. The NBA is getting deep into the midseason as we approach the All-Star break. Um, and there's a lot happening since coming off the Olympics last year. So a lot of interesting storylines, a lot of interesting things happening in the world of collegiate sports between NIL situations, college football, college volleyball just ending for women, starting up for men, college basketball is in the mix, a lot of upsets, a whole lot going on. So we're getting into it. So starting off 2025, do you have any specific goals or aspirations, or what do they call them, resolutions that you're interested in making happen?
I have resolutions every single year.
Mm-hmm.
Never stops.
Okay.
Most of them, once again, financial savings, investings goals, things like that, and then some other side goals that I don't want to tell anybody about, but I'm working on right now.
Okay.
But mostly the financial goals are always in there. I want to make sure I'm financially stable. I want to make sure I'm investing the way that I should be.
Sure,
What about
sure.
you?
For me, I've talked to a couple people on my mentality program about it, but number one is a consistency of events. So some of the events that we run for sports and mentality and strength training, want to be really consistent about those and try to hit a specific number, which is 12 of a minimum this year.
Nice.
Number two, want to make sure that as it pertains to the facility, there's continued growth in terms of the system. So continuing to build system within what's happening in the volleyball world with things that make sense for people to be able to get to their highest level. And
Nice.
then also trying to make sure that there is a solidarity in the financial piece too for being able to allocate things in advance from savings to spending from a facility standpoint to a personal life standpoint, but trying to make sure that we're out ahead of that. And then a fourth one that I have is just consistency of working out. I always try to make sure I work out at least 4 of the 7 days a week.
No doubt.
And this year I'm making a goal to ramp it up to 5 out of the 7 days. So
You're getting after it.
yeah, workout for me is defined as something longer than half an hour where I break a sweat, where either weights or physical exertion are involved. So
Mm,
I also try to make sure that there's a stretch and like a body loosening or maintenance, more like a morning core routine on the other days, but
yeah.
I don't count those as the workouts. The workouts are something that I feel like is either progressing me strength wise or giving me the opportunity to maintain where I'm at.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
those are the aspirations.
Nice.
So yeah, it started off well so far. We're about 10 days into January now, and things are looking up in terms of that. But what's challenging right now is in California, for those of you who don't know, there's some fires happening right now, and it's actually a pretty tragic situation. So a lot of people's houses are burning down currently. Neighborhoods are going up in flames, starting with the Pacific Palisades,
Mm,
stretching out to places like Hollywood, stretching out to places like Calabasas. There's been new fires popping up. And there's some big name celebrities who've had their houses burned down, like Paris Hilton, JJ Redick, Kim Kardashian. But more so, it's the general population of people in those. I believe 90% at this point of the Palisades is gone. You know, literally just
that's
in the
terrible.
ashes and flames. So there's some people who I know personally who have their houses that are gone at this point, and then there's a pretty decent amount of attachments to those people who also have their houses gone. So pretty challenging time right now in Southern California, and that's just about 15 minutes away from where we're standing right now in a car.
Yeah, it's super concerning. Palisades is just above Malibu,
Hmm.
and I don't know, it's really disappointing. A lot of people who are in political positions or in other higher ranking positions are starting to come down on Newsom, which
Mm.
is pretty disappointing. But I mean, you heard what happened, or if anybody heard what happened, I believe Newsom took about 17 million away from the fire department, and then also he apparently took water out of the fire hydrants that were in the Palisades. So, fire department obviously is lower staff, and then also they have no water, so they're having to find like new ways to try to contain it, which obviously they haven't really been able to contain the fire, which
Right.
is then making the situation worse. And Trump was even saying things, and multiple other people, Grant Cardone, were saying things about what Newsom's been doing, and nobody's happy about it. And obviously, you see what happened to Palisades because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty tragic situation. I mean, for most people, it's not something they think about on the daily, you know? Like people get insurance, some people get insurance. Fire insurance is something really hard to find right now in Southern California. If you're trying to get it for the first time, it's
No
almost
way.
impossible. And even if you've had it previously, they're stripping a lot of people of it. So
Yeah.
something I don't know as a fact, but something I have heard is that uh, even the people who have houses that are in worth of excess of $3 million, they're capping a lot of the insurance payouts at
Hmm.
$3 million. So even if you have a house that's worth 20 or a house that's worth 10,
Yeah.
you're only getting three back. And so there might be some people out there that say, you know, have the mentality of, well, if you have $20 million, those aren't the people to worry about. It's like anybody who has their house burned down unexpectedly is a
Yeah.
person to worry about. So whether we're talking about a person who has a $50,000 house or a $50 million house, it's a really tragic and challenging situation. So
Hmm.
um, anything that can be done to help, you know, raise those people's spirits, you know, try to send positive energy and try to make sure that you're opening your space for people to be able to have, you know, whatever it is they're seeking, a good time, a safe time, a healthy time, whatever the
Hmm.
case. So, yeah, for California right now, really challenging situation, not unlike what was happening in Florida, you know, a little bit ago with the hurricanes happening over there, just overtaking people, people's
That's
houses
scary.
getting torn to shreds. So we
Yeah.
hope that the natural disasters can calm down a bit. But hopefully this is the reason that people have insurance and it doesn't turn into a bigger fiasco. Um, that causes even more problems for the area. That's the big hope. You hope property values don't shoot down in that
Hmm.
area really fast, even though for a little while it's going to be almost like a wasteland, you know? There's not going
Yeah.
to be a lot standing. So it's natural that property values are going to drop a little bit. And it opens up some opportunities elsewhere for people to start to find homes and find shelter and find places they can stay. And you hope that the insurance is willing to take care of it.
Yeah, insurance is starting to pull out of everywhere now.
Yeah,
Especially they're starting to pull out of Florida and California, which
yeah,
is hard. Or if they are deciding to stay in, they're raising everything. Like
yeah,
car insurance for us is starting to go through the roof.
yeah,
And then housing, if anybody has any insurance, it's starting to go up right now, which is pretty disappointing.
yeah. Yeah, it's a big challenge, but